Alright, hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Casey, and today I'm doing a video for you guys just about what kind of message do you need to hear right now. And the only intention that I went into with this is I want this video to find people that have been dealing with issues surrounding confidence or self-empowerment, or maybe you just don't really have clarity on a situation or an obstacle that you need more clarity on. And so today I'm allowing kind of anything to come through, within reason. So spirit guides, ancestors, spirit in general, whoever has your best interests at heart. Those are the kinds of, things that I'm allowing to come through in this reading today. So the three piles that we're dealing with today are number 1 with this yellow calcite, number 2 with this tiger's eye, and number 3 with this carnelian. So go ahead, if you've done this before, just take a minute, pause, figure out which pile you feel most drawn to. Down in the description box below, I've left timestamps so you can quickly hop to whichever reading you want to listen to. But that's all that I have to say. I really hope you enjoy your reading. Alright, pile 1. If you chose the yellow calcite, then this is going to be the reading for you. And I hope that I'm able to formulate all my words properly in this reading. I did take a short break from doing tarot readings because I was feeling like brain foggy and couldn't quite do readings properly, so you have the honor of being the first reading that I do since coming back and starting up again. So I really hope that you'll bear with me if I sound like, I don't know, it's taking me a while to formulate my words, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. So, pile 1. What I see for you is I feel like there's something that you've been trying to accomplish for a while now. It could be a personal project, it could be a career you're working towards, or it could be a personal venture, maybe even like trying to work on yourself or work towards a relationship with someone. It could even be your relationship with yourself that you're trying to better understand and maybe work through some past issues. But for whatever reason, I think you've been getting really angry at yourself, angry at a situation, or frustrated because things haven't been working out. And you've been working really hard, you've been pushing really hard to make progress towards this thing. But I'm here to tell you that whatever this thing is that you're trying to work on or work through, or whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, it's not going to be accomplished through brute force. I feel like you've been thinking that as long as you push hard, as long as you move forward full steam ahead and you throw everything that you have at this issue, it'll get fixed. And I'm here to tell you that whatever this is, maybe you were able to accomplish things in the past through these methods, but whatever this is, it's needing you to take a different direction. And it's asking you to approach things with more care and more peace and with a softness that I don't think you're really accustomed to. I think maybe this could be something that stemmed from when you were younger. Maybe people didn't treat you super kindly. Maybe you weren't raised with the loving, caring hand that you should have been. And it toughened you up, it hardened you, and it allowed you to overcome obstacles through brute force, but now it's almost like you're trying to accomplish something, and that method, that MOS, that modus operandi, I don't think that's MOS. Anyways, the way that you're trying to go about this is not working, and it's because it's time for you to unlearn that toxic sort of behavior that you were raised with. And it's not your fault that you came out this way and that's the way that you think things need to be done. It's the fault of the people that should have been there for you, that should have been there to guide you and show you that there is a softer, easier way to treat yourself. There's an easier way to go about things. And I think, I want to say that this is an internal issue, but I feel like you could be trying to accomplish something external, but the reason that you're not able to achieve it is because you haven't yet reconciled the inner issues that you have within yourself. So it's both an internal and external issue. And the analogy that I can give for that is, let's say you've really been trying to get promoted at your job, or you've really been trying to excel at a hobby or something. But for some reason, it's not working, and you thought, as long as you work super hard, you put in the hours, and you do better than everybody else, it's gonna work out. But for some reason, this hobby or this promotion needs a delicate touch, almost like it's like if you were trying to apply to be a therapist and it requires a soothing voice, a calm exterior, but you're so used to playing football that you come at everybody with like head first, and you come into things hot, and it's like you need to unlearn this way that you go about things, because for whatever reason, for a long time you haven't been able to slow things down and come at things from a more soft side, a more calm side. And again, I don't think that this is any fault of your own. I think that this is the fault of those that should have raised you with this understanding, that should have been softer with you, that should have been able to comfort you and teach you that you don't need to come at things angry, you don't need to come at things hard and with this tough outer shell and just battering things down in order to get what you want. And it's frustrating to you, and it's making you upset because for so long this has been the way that you go about things. This is the way that you've achieved things. You've been able to be the best at everything because you're able to climb over others to get what you need, to get what you want, because I feel like that's what you used to have to do. But now it's like that kind of behavior, that way of going about things isn't really working out anymore, and you need to learn how to achieve things through peace, how to let go of this tough exterior, how to let go of these preconceived notions and beliefs that have made you so tough and made you so hard. And that's what I see with this Four of Pentacles reversed. It's almost like you see this guy that's holding on so tightly to these Four Pentacles. And if you know anything about tarot, there's 10 of every suit. So there's 10 pentacles in total, and he only has 4. And it's like he thinks that if he lets go for even a little bit, if he stops baring his teeth at people and he eases up his grip, that he's suddenly going to lose everything. But the truth is, he's holding on so tight, he's even holding on to things with his feet and his head, he doesn't have any room to accept anything else. It's like if he was able to open his arms, maybe he could hold a 5th pentacle, or a 6th. But for so long he's had to hold on to things so tightly for fear of losing them that he hasn't been allowed to accept new things into his life. And for you, I think it's time for you to let down this tough exterior. It's time for you to open your arms and be ready to accept things, even if it scares you. Because I feel like you're so guarded, you're so tightly wound, so tightly closed, you don't allow anything in. And whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, whatever you're trying to accomplish, the only way that this can be done is by letting your guard down, by being able to act peacefully and relax. Honestly, I think that's what it's about. If you know anything about divine feminine and divine masculine, I feel like, well, first of all, it has nothing to do with gender. It's more like yin and yang. But I feel like for so long you've been in this divine masculine energy where it's all about push, get what you need. It's all about consciousness, moving forward. Don't think about the past. Don't think about the future. Don't take any moment for rest. Just go out, grab what you want, because if you don't, somebody else is going to get it. But what you've desperately been needing is this balance of divine masculine, divine feminine. Feminine is passive. It allows to receive. It's like intuition, for instance. If you've ever heard people talk about how intuition works, it's definitely more like of the divine feminine side. And the reason it works is the ego isn't involved. You're not forcing a certain answer to your question. You're allowing the answers to come to you. Like downloads, it comes to you. It's not something that you seek out. It's something that is brought to you because you're open to receiving it. And I feel like in order for you to get what you want, instead of going after it and pushing and shoving to get what you need to be open to receiving it and believing that if it's meant for you, it will come to you. If you're meant to have it, it's going to come to you. You will receive it. You don't need to push to get it. And I feel like once you realize this, it's gonna be like poof, like light bulb moment, like your brain expanding, because I feel like for so long you've been missing out on a lot of things in life. And this is a general reading, so it's gonna be different for everyone, and I hope what I'm saying makes sense. But it's like this guy with the 4 pentacles, like I said before, he's holding on so tight, he doesn't even realize that there are 6 more pentacles for him to have. If he let go and he allowed the pentacles to simply be around him instead of holding on to them and putting a leash around them and chaining them down, he would be able to have all 10 of them, you know? So Your message is kind of vague, it's kind of open-ended and a little hard to explain, but essentially what I'm needing to tell you is whatever it is that you want so desperately, it's time for you to let go of wanting a certain outcome so badly that it tears you apart, that it makes you angry and frustrated, and being open to the idea that if you relax and you allow yourself to receive things, then they will come to you. And if they're not meant to be with you, then that's okay. You can let them go. But I feel like you have this belief that if you want something and you can't have it, then suddenly you're a failure. Or if you really want to do something and you're not able to accomplish it, you're a failure. When someone that's perfectly balanced between divine masculine, divine feminine energy, they understand that yes, they can still go after things, but if you don't get them, that doesn't mean that you're a total failure. It just means that that thing wasn't for you. And you'll still receive what's meant for you, and things that aren't meant for you, will move on. And it's not something that you hold a grudge against or get super frustrated about or throw a tantrum and get super angry about, if that makes sense. I really hope that your reading made sense. Like I said, dealing with brain fog, but I'm trying to get over it. But essentially the message that I have to give for you is, if you've been really worried about a certain outcome for something, you've been really wanting something, whether it's something internal or external, whatever goal it is something that you can have, but you're not going to get it through the traditional means that you've gotten most things through life. It's going to take learning on your part, and especially learning to let go of the strong desire to have a certain outcome and being open to, it's like that saying, like, if it's meant to be, it'll be. Everything happens for a reason. It's like that saying also, like, I don't chase, I attract. And it's hard to be comfortable in that because we're taught to chase after the things we want. They're not just going to be handed to us. But in certain cases, it's almost like you've gone overboard with that and you're chasing things that simply aren't meant for you. Or you're chasing too hard and it's like those things aren't meant to be chased. They're things that are meant to come to you. Kind of like, for example, if this is a relationship issue and you've been really wanting a relationship, but everything sort of like fails for one reason or another. People leave or they seem disinterested. It could be because you're so used to pursuing a person so strongly that it pushes them away. It doesn't even give them time to think, is this what I want? It doesn't give them time to think, like, even about their schedule, because it's almost like, I don't want to say you're pestering them, of course, this is just an analogy. But it's like if you don't give that person time to warm up to you and want to come to you too, you just coming at them like a train is going to scare them off. So the same could be said about trying to achieve certain goals or trying to understand certain concepts. You need to be willing to, you're putting in a little bit of work, but not driving something away, allowing yourself to sit still for a moment and see if it's willing to come to you too. So, pile 1, I really hope that made sense. I feel like it doesn't make sense, but I don't know. If somebody's meant to hear it and it resonates, I'm sure that you may have gained something from it, or at least I hope so. But pile 1, that is all that I have to say for you. I really hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please think about leaving a like or subscribing. I do try to post at least twice a week, but sometimes it's random. But nonetheless, I will do my best to keep up with that schedule. If you're looking for personal readings, I do provide those. There's a link down in the description box below to my shop. But that's all that I have to say to you, pile 1. I truly wish you the best in everything that you do. Bye-bye. All right, pile 2. If you chose the tiger's eye, is that what this is? I think that's what it is. If you chose that crystal, then this is the reading for you. And as you can see, you have a lot of cards on the table. There's only supposed to be 6, but you had lots of cards coming out, and honestly, I think it's a good thing because it gives me a good idea of what your message is. And my message to you is, I feel like you've been going through a shift socially right now. It could be one specific person in your life that's suddenly left, or you've had like a breakup with them, or it could be an entire friend group, or for some reason, maybe you have been removed. Like you've moved across the country and it was kind of against your will. And I think whatever this shakeup in your social situations is, it made you really upset. I don't think it was your will. You didn't want this to happen. But for some reason or another, you're feeling very isolated, especially from people that were once in your life. And you may be upset to hear this, but it was for a good reason. And I feel like, especially if it was like, for instance, like your parents moving you across the country, the last thing you want to hear is like, it's for your own good. But I feel like my message for you is kind of different from what their message would be, if that makes sense. Getting into it, I feel like the kinds of people that you are around, or the kinds of people that have been removed from your life, or you have been removed from, they were not the kinds of people that were serving your highest good. These are people that were distractions, and I even want to say like the embodiment of sin, which sounds really weird. Like I'm not religious, or at least not in like the conventional way, but I feel like these people had like a hold on you, and maybe you really relied on them, and maybe they weren't completely bad people, but they were bad influences in your life. And it might seem like maybe your parents removed them, or maybe they removed themselves, but I feel like there's a deeper spiritual reason for why these people are no longer in your life. If you believe in spirit guides or a specific god or angels, I feel like those kinds of spiritual beings are the ones that put this into motion to remove these people from your life. Because like I said, they're like the embodiment of sin, or just kind of dark energies in your life that maybe you relied on, maybe you were dependent on, but they certainly were leading you down the wrong path in life. And I don't mean like they were smoking a lot or drinking a lot and like that's no good for you. You need to be on like the straight A student track. Like they're not good influences. I mean like energetically, it's like they are content to never rise above what is expected of them. And I feel like people expected very little of these people. And you being around them, it's almost like that saying that you are like the company you keep. If you hang out with people that don't want to do anything with their lives, you're probably not going to do anything with your life. But if you hang around people that are constantly trying to be better, that are always working out or always working towards goals, you'll be influenced to do the same. And I think Spirit didn't want these people in your life or this person in your life because they were leading you down the wrong direction. I think you were easily influenced by them, whether you realize it or not. You were starting to lead the same kind of life that they were. And even though this isolation makes you upset, you're angry at the circumstances, and you're pissed off that things have to be this way, it's for a good reason. I see you going down a very bright path that you might not see at this time. I see you suddenly working towards something that you're very passionate about and working towards it very diligently. A good example that I can have for this, or analogy rather, is imagine you used to really love reading when you were younger, and you stopped reading when you were older because you started hanging around people that only played video games all the time, so you started only playing video games all the time. But then these people are removed from your life, and all of a sudden it's like you have all this free time, maybe you pick up a book, and then suddenly you're reading all these books and expanding your mind. You start forgetting about those people that you used to hang around with, and now it's like you have this wealth of knowledge at your disposal that you wouldn't have had otherwise, and it starts propelling you in all these different directions. Your creativity is exploding, your mind is expanding, and maybe this is kind of like a weird analogy, but I see you working very strongly and very hard towards a goal. It could even be like a career path, but I see you working towards bettering yourself. Whether you realize it or not, the direction that you're going to be going in is going to be turning you and morphing you into a better person. Like it might not even be consciously, like it's not like you're reading self-help books, but it's like you start doing little things along the way that change you for the better over time. I think you might even you're in this isolation, maybe you're even in a new place. Suddenly I think you're going to be given a new opportunity to do something that you're very passionate about, that maybe you don't really recognize as something that you're passionate about at first, but it ends up being such a prominent part of your life. It could even be like you're joining a new community. Like maybe you move off to this new state, for instance, if you're in the US. You move to this new state, you don't know anybody, and you're kind of pissed off because You're not allowed to keep in touch with your friends anymore. But then somebody like hands you this flyer and they're like, oh, we're doing this community gathering, you should check it out. And like maybe your parents force you to go to it if you're young. I'm saying this like you're a teenager, but you could be older. But for whatever reason, you decide to check out this community gathering, and then you start making these great friends. And it's not people that just want something from you, it's people that actually enjoy being around you. And you get to do things that actually make your soul feel clear and clean and happy. And you start enjoying life more, and you start finding a purpose, something to actually change and look forward to. So that, you know, maybe you might have been very pessimistic about life, but now it's like you have this purpose. That's the kind of thing that I see coming for you. And I mean, I don't know that this is gonna erase your anger. I don't expect it to if you're very upset about this shift in social situation for you, because it's obviously very uncomfortable. But I see you having this realization or this judgment moment with this judgment card that suddenly changes your perspective on things. Maybe you see something that you're suddenly super interested in. Maybe you have this new idea or this new drive to do something, but it's like you're having a consciousness change. And I see this even further expanded in these cards over here on the right, because with this isolation comes this peace. It's almost like, imagine you're trying to be a philosopher, but you're constantly on TikTok or you're constantly on YouTube. You always have your headphones in listening to music, and you never have any time to yourself to just think. But suddenly there's a power outage and you can never access your phone again. And now your mind is blank and you're feeling so bored, but then out of nowhere you start getting all these new ideas and things that you wouldn't have been able to think of while you were distracted. And this piece actually turns into something that allows your creativity to flourish. So this isolation, while it may be boring and maybe you're upset that you can't go hang out with those people that you used to be around, it actually is a blessing in disguise, because this peace, this physical peace, now allows you to explore your consciousness, explore who you are, who you want to be, how you feel about certain things, and maybe past things that you used to be so inspired by, things that you felt so creatively tuned to. You start exploring them again, and it's like your creativity is blooming. Maybe you even become an artist, you know, like even for a job. Like, it's like you had all this creativity laying dormant inside you, and it had nowhere to go because you were caught up in distractions, you were caught up around people that maybe you shouldn't have been. And so yes, it feels like a loss at first. You feel very lost because those people that you used to align yourself with are no longer in your life, and you start questioning who you really are, because you used to think, I'm one of those people. You aligned yourself with a group that wasn't really you, and that's who you thought you were. You thought you were like them. But all along you were somebody else that was just distracted and clouded over with people that they shouldn't have been around. It's like if you've heard of the ugly duckling story. It's about this baby goose that was raised with these ducks, and everybody called him the ugly duckling because he looked so different. But it turned out all along he was just a goose. Like, he was meant to live with the geese, and he was actually a very beautiful goose. So that's you. It's like you're upset that you've lost these ducks, but all along you were never supposed to be a duck. You were never supposed to be like them. You are meant for so much more, and I see you accomplishing so much. And what I mean by accomplishing so much is, with this Magician card, especially with the Knight of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands over here, I see you have such a strong ability to create and produce something from within you. Like, you can make so many beautiful things out of nothing, and it all stems from your inner creativity, your inner power, your inner... It's like your brain is just so different from everybody else's, and you have this special ingredient that can be turned into anything. And for so long you've doubted it. You might not even know that it's there. You might think that you're not destined for anything great. But I'm here to tell you that this situation change that you're so upset about, it happened so that you can turn into this great person. So that you can explore these things and work towards this thing that you're passionate about. And it's like, I'm imagining somebody like Vincent van Gogh, or like a painter who, or artist in general, who's destined for stardom. Like, I don't know why I'm thinking like Taylor Swift. it's like they started out thinking maybe doubting themselves. I mean, Van Gogh has this heartbreaking story where his art was never successful in his lifetime. He was super depressed, and unfortunately, I think he ended up committing suicide. But if only he could have seen how many people his artwork had touched and how many people value his work. I'm not sure if this analogy even makes any sense, but I feel like you don't even realize just how much you are destined for. And trust me when I say that I can tell it's a lot, because this Knight of Pentacles and the Magician together, these cards are all about self-empowerment and like creating whatever it is you set your mind to. Especially with the Ace of Wands, this is something that you are passionate about that is coming from within. And all this together, it's like you could truly do whatever you want with life. And more than that, it's like you will be so successful. All it takes is, taking yourself away from distractions, taking yourself away from things that don't serve you. Because all of this success comes from within. And if you don't take any time to introspect, to talk to yourself and ask yourself what you want, you're never going to be able to pursue those things. So instead of seeing this isolation as a bad thing, I want you to start thinking like, okay, now that I have all this time to myself, what do I want to do? Do I want to go in that back alleyway and drink and smoke with these low-life people that, aren't really serving my highest best good? Do I want to stick with this dude who I've been in a relationship with for 10 years that has done nothing but degrade me and put me down? Or do I want to be on my own and see what I can make of myself? Obviously, those are very, drastic examples, and, I'm not saying, if you have healthy people in your life, you suddenly need to drop them. But I'm saying if there's distractions, people or otherwise, that are in your life that aren't serving your best good and are just unfulfilling, don't make you happy, it's time to remove those and be ready for what you have to offer the world. Not for what the world has to offer you, but what you can create and what you can do. Because I see it as being so much. You have so much to offer. So, pile 2, that is all that I have for you today. I really hope it made sense. Honestly, it felt pretty good. I don't know if I mentioned, but I definitely mentioned in pile 1 that I took a break from tarot because I was feeling very brain foggy and my intuition was blocked, but your reading felt like it flowed pretty well. So I really hope that this finds the people that it's meant for. I really hope that it resonates and it helps. And more than anything, I just hope that you enjoyed it and made you feel good. If you enjoyed your reading, please think about leaving a like or subscribing. I do post about twice a week, so if you want more from me, you have that to look forward to. And if you're looking for any personal readings, I do provide those. There's a link down in the description box below to my shop. But that's all that I have to say for you, pile 2. I truly wish you the best in everything that you do. Bye-bye. Alright, pile 3. If you chose the Carnelian, then this is going to be the reading for you. Now, your reading... Obviously, I get the cards out first and look at them for a bit to gather my thoughts before I say anything. But yours is kind of like I know I've been dealing with brain fog, but it's more like your reading is kind of hard to explain because it has to deal with your future. And specifically, it's about the journey that you're going to be going on, especially about self-empowerment. So if you came to this reading because you're not a very confident person, you kind of let people walk all over you, or at least your voice has never been heard. I'm specifically getting a feeling in my throat, maybe you have issues with your throat chakra. If you don't know what that is, that has to do with being able to speak about what you feel, what you think, not letting people talk over you. You say what you want and you're able to communicate your needs. And more than anything, it's standing up for yourself and saying, no, this is how I feel about things. I'm not going to let you walk over me and silence me. But for so long, it's you've kept quiet. You haven't said those things. And with this ghost card, it almost makes me think usually this ghost card is about cutting people off, ghosting them. But for you, I feel you're almost like a ghost where nobody really sees you. You kind of just drift in the background and you let people take what they want. You let people talk over you. You let people take advantage of you. And I think it's because people have torn you down throughout your life. They've made you feel like you shouldn't have confidence, that it's okay to let people walk all over you. And an example I'm even thinking of is imagine you're pretty well off. you might not be extremely wealthy, but you have enough money that your friends around you are like, oh yeah, this, pile 3 is just gonna pay for everything, right? Pile 3, and you kind of just like, yeah. And you don't really want to, but it's like everybody just assumes that you will. And you never really stood up for yourself and said, no, actually, I don't want to pay for all of you. In fact, I don't even really care about all of you. And you may even be in a friend group that's just like people that aren't really your friends. It's people that you hang around with, but they talk down to you, they talk over you, maybe they even talk behind your back. And for a long time, you've put up with it because you feel like you don't deserve more. You feel like maybe you won't even get more, like nobody else would want to be around you. Nobody else would want to hang out with you or be your friend. And with the Magic card and the Hierophant, for so long, you've been sticking to conventional things. You haven't been able to dress like yourself. Like maybe on the inside you have this flamboyant side, or this side that really wants to express yourself through, dressing a certain way. But you're listening to this ringleader of your friend group that's like, we're all gonna wear tennis skirts and we're all gonna wear polo t-shirts and this color sneakers, and nobody else is allowed to dress differently. And for so long, it's like you've thought, I need to listen to this person, I need to go along with what everybody says, or else nobody's gonna want to be around me, and then I'm gonna be completely alone. But God, what's even the point of being around people like that? If they're just gonna walk all over you and you're gonna be unhappy, that's no way to live. And with this Magic card, I feel like you are so different on the inside. And it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. I feel like you have such a beautiful inner flame to yourself that so badly wants to shine and be seen and be felt by people like you. But for so long, it's been dulled and dimmed and enclosed in like a little jar. And these people are just like passing around the jar, like taking advantage of the warmth of the flame. And it's like you've dulled yourself down to this tiny little spark when you could be this roaring, free bonfire hanging out with all these other cool bonfires. I don't even know if this analogy makes sense, but basically, it's like you are this magical, beautiful being that deserves to express yourself for who you are, not covering yourself up, not pretending to be like somebody else. And you deserve to be around people that will love that side of you, that will encourage you and cheer you on and be like, yeah, that's so cool. Like, oh, those shoes that you're wearing, where did you get them? They're so cool. And it's not like those same old sneakers that everybody else is wearing. Like maybe you made them yourself. Or maybe they're from like a shop that's meant for like whatever your quirky interest is. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't know, maybe you're a really big Taylor Swift fan, but you've only been hanging around people that think like rock and heavy metal is cool and they think Taylor Swift is stupid, and it's like that, well, that's all that I want to listen to, But you haven't allowed yourself to do that because you're letting all these people walk all over you and take advantage of you. And I think that you think that you're meant to just go along with these conventional things, these conventional people, and lead a conventional life. But this leaving behind these people is only the tip of the iceberg. I feel like you are meant for something that's different from what everybody else does. And not just in style-wise, like career-wise and your passions. Your passions are so different for a reason. You're not given desires and passions just to look at them longingly and never be able to achieve them. You're given those things because that's what your heart and your soul desires to go after. And when you go after them, that's when you become your biggest, best self, because you're going after what you're meant for. And for so long, you've denied these things, or you've only been allowed to enjoy them in private. But it's time for you to be so much more. It's time for you to expand and allow yourself to openly enjoy those things. It's time for you to leave behind the conventional. Stop listening to other people. Stop listening to this ringleader of this friend group, for example, and start listening to yourself, doing what you want. Because inside of you, I see this beautiful, strong confidence that I feel like you admire in other people. Maybe you look up to certain celebrities or certain people for being so different, for seeming so confident, and on the inside it's like you tell yourself, God, I wish I could be like them. And you don't even need a wish. You can be like them. You just need to be, you need that push to get yourself out of this situation. And I think that's what this Surrender card and this Eight of Swords are saying. What you need to be able to do is basically say, I'm done dealing with this bullshit. I'm not letting people walk all over me. I'm not letting my voice be silenced. I'm going to be, my own strong person. And I feel like some people, when they're working on the throat chakra or, working on speaking their truth, some people tend to go overboard and they stop listening to other people. So my message isn't like stop listening to people altogether and disregarding people's feelings, but it's more like being an equal seat at the table and saying, this is my voice, this is what I feel, I'm not going to compromise these feelings, but I'm still willing to listen to other people so long as they're willing to respect me. Respect goes both ways. That's a bit of a tangent, but I've seen people where they go from being like really lacking confidence, never speaking their mind, and then they finally start getting the confidence to do that, but then they start stomping all over everyone else. And it's like they go to the complete opposite end of the scale where they start to become this ringleader that's beating people down. So that's just the kind of message that I have to preface it with, because it's about finding balance, not about going from one end of the scale to the complete opposite end of the scale. So basically what I see for you, pile 3, is you have this beautiful inner magic that should not be stamped out and should not be taken advantage of by other people. And for so long you've been stuck around these people that do take advantage, that silence you and make you do things that you don't want to do. And it's time for you to let yourself flourish, to let yourself be expressed, and let yourself be around people that want to see that expressed. I feel like a big thing that might have been holding you back is maybe this idea that there's no one like me, that I'm too quirky or too weird, or, I'm better off just staying in this group where everyone's the same, everybody does the same thing, because at least I'll blend in and at least I'll have someone to be around. And you're afraid that if you express yourself and be yourself, no one's going to want to be around you because they're all going to think it's weird. But I'm here to tell you everybody is weird in their own way. Even those seemingly conventional people, they probably deep down feel this exact same way and they're just doing what they can to get by. But I feel like for you, it's time for you to take that first step into no longer compromising yourself, to surrendering to what you really want. Not surrendering to other people, but surrendering to what you want, who you want to be, how you want to express yourself, how you want to dress every day, what you want to say, not censoring yourself for other people. Because censoring yourself and dressing yourself up like every other person and pretending to be something that you're not is literally killing you. Like, if you look at this 8 of Swords card, I feel like, if I can get it to focus, I feel like this is you. You're literally stuck among all these swords that are pinning you down, blindfolding you, tying you up, telling you how to live your life. And you're not meant to be a sword. You're not meant to just sit among these things and be in pain and be unhappy and lack everything that you want in life. You're meant for so much more. So, time for you to surrender to what you want, to stand up for yourself and say, no, I want to live this life. I don't want to listen to these people. I want to be around other people that want to be like me, instead of forcing yourself to be like someone else. So that is the kind of growth or lesson that I see you going through. I don't know what the time frame is for you for this specific thing that you're having to learn or having to go through. Honestly, it might even be like a lifelong lesson that you're going to have to continue to relearn as you meet new people, as you grow into new parts of your life. But with this magic card being at the center of it all, I just feel like you have this beautiful inner flame that doesn't deserve to be covered up by things that's not really it. You don't deserve to have your inner light dimmed. It should be able to shine however it wants. And, I feel like we all have this sort of inner light, but yours is especially magical. And I feel like, if anything, you could even teach people just like you how to shine, how to be confident, how to be yourself. And maybe that seems radical. Maybe that's like super out of your comfort zone, but I see that being the kind of person that you can be one day. And all it takes is allowing yourself to be who you want to be, instead of allowing yourself to be covered up and silenced by other people. So, pile 3, that's the message that I have for you today. I really hope that it made sense. And I hope you enjoyed your reading. I hope it resonated. But yeah, that's all that I have to say. If you enjoyed your reading, please think about leaving a like or subscribing. No pressure to do either, but it does help me out a ton. And if you do want to see more from me, I post about twice a week, so there's that. And if you're looking for any personal readings, there is a link down to my shop in the description box below. But without further ado, pile 3, that's all that I have for you today. I truly wish you the best in everything that you do. Bye-bye.